Take a look. We've been showing this all morning. This line of cars and trucks keeps getting longer and longer. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office has their perimeter all set up, extending all the way down the block. I want to take our viewers straight to this scene. Two controversial horse slaughterhouses in New Mexico and Iowa, we're learning, will not open on Monday as planned. Drug-sniffing dog conducting a surprise search found pot in the sergeant's car in the secured area of the Los Lunas Correctional Facility. The number of cyber attacks is growing, especially attacks carried out on mobile devices like your cell phones and tablets. Blaze again in the Bosque, so big and so out of control that it not only burns all of this wooded area, but also a good portion of our city. They really just want to acknowledge teachers more. Of course, that would mean more money. Even debris just like this is out on the roads. The Susan G. Komen organization, once rocked by controversy, now has a new leader, and she says the breast cancer charity has turned an entire new corner and is ready to get moving again. No doubt about it, Friday night's storm packed a punch.
We're here in southwest Albuquerque.
Here at Tingley Park near the Albuquerque Zoo.
I-25 is closed.
With dozens of trees demolished, also saw a lot of debris on the road, to traffic lights being out and more than 30,000 people left in the dark.
We did have some delays and reroutes at the airport.
We saw what the National Weather Service tells us was almost a record breaker.
Wind gust 89 miles per hour.
The storm roared through the zoo, causing significant damage and sending one person to the hospital with minor injuries. They were closed today to clean up. A huge concert and the Isotopes game were both canceled, and the storm stressed Albuquerque police to their max.
We've got swing shift officer, graveyard officers, and we've called in about an extra 30 officers to assist with calls.
Now the city of Albuquerque is on its way to recovery. Crews and homeowners alike were out all day cleaning up, taping off dangerous areas, and fixing what was broken.
Action 7 News reporter Angela Brauer is live in southeast Albuquerque with this story. Angela, I know you got to watch some of this. You said it was really emotional.
It was absolutely heart-wrenching, Marissa, when we were walking around with them. And to be honest with you, Last Chance Intervention really had no idea how bad our drug problem was, how bad our homelessness problem was until they got here. They tell me that one of the first things they saw when they got here was actually a homeless man climbing out of this very manhole with all of his things.
They're on meth, they're on heroin.
We will help you get somewhere.
Last Chance Intervention wasted no time hitting the drug-infested streets of Albuquerque hard the minute they got here.
How can we help this community?
The nonprofit tells us they got hundreds of emails and phone calls from people desperately looking for help. Almost all of them after they saw Last Chance Intervention here on Action 7 News More in the Morning. They plan to come here and help one person, paying for the detox, the rehab, and by providing countless resources a person in recovery would need.
It's the fast track to a new life.
Yet they found the meth and heroin problem here to be so horrific, they ended up taking two.
I buried one son, and I can't.
A 29-year-old man who drove all the way from Grants just to have a chance at this help.
Welcome to Last Chance Intervention.
And this woman who is so addicted to meth, she says this was absolutely her last opportunity at life.
And I've never asked for anything. I've never asked for help. And I need help.
Now, Last Chance Intervention says this Albuquerque is the most drug-infested place they've ever been to. It's so bad, they say, not only because of how many people are on drugs here, but because of how many people really do want to get sober. You heard just how many people reached out to them for that help. They say they want to make Albuquerque a focal point. They want to make an impact on our community. They plan to come back multiple times in the future, including at least one time in this next coming July. Reporting live from southeast Albuquerque this morning, I'm Angela Brauer.
A man once on death row may soon be getting his freedom. The parole board expects to decide by tomorrow if Joel Lee Compton should be released from prison.
We did a little bit of digging only to find out that some veterans are waiting decades. That more than 300 people are involved. 10 agencies are helping search more than 16 miles. In just a few hours, this school parking lot will be packed with hundreds of cars, with people parking, dropping off kids, but mostly waiting in line. For voters, the issue is transparency. They have a lot of questions and they want answers. There is still an extreme drought throughout the state of New Mexico. This winter, there's only been one major snowfall, but consistent single-digit temperatures.
I got some frost damage there. We're only working indoors right now.
Indoors or not, right now, some local farmers are fearing the worst.
This will be a loss. It's toast.
They're losing most of their vegetables. From the extreme drought to the extreme temperatures, this is just half of the destruction caused by crazy New Mexico weather.
Our head lettuce gets damaged, our kale, our chard.
It's cold and dry, a bad combination. Frost in the mornings, insulated heat in these greenhouses in the daytime, and a lack of water, not only from the drought, but also because the irrigation pipes haven't been able to defrost at times. It's too much for these plants. For these farmers, it means $5,000 worth of green, now tossed to the turnips.
It is unfortunate.
The problem is that more and more drivers are hanging up the gas pump and turning to hybrid and electric cars. That means less money at the pump and less gas tax money for the upkeep of these streets. Right now, other states are considering alternative options that would generate more money. That is, besides a gas tax. Options that would charge those hybrid and electric car drivers too. New Mexico, however, is not there yet.
New Mexicans like their big SUVs and trucks.
Most of the revenue the state collects actually comes from trucking.
The road fund is very stable at this point.
Keywords at this point, but DOT says it won't be that way forever. Eventually, our state will also have to think of other ways to make money for the roads.
The Sunport has been packed for the last 2 days or so, with fans flying out to be with the Lobos once again as they dance the dance.
Well, it is a short time to prepare for these huge tests. APS says these tests are held the same time every year, and it's actually the state who schedules them. Grab a random school supplies list from Target. How much would it cost to basically just get the essentials? At this point, drivers are still being redirected over here to exit 242. The holdup was money. Now they have applied for several loans to get them a new fire truck, public works vehicles, and police cars similar to this one. Residents who live here can't stand the thought of leaving. But with the Single Action Shooting Society down the street hosting events with dozens of people attending, living here almost isn't worth it anymore.
Gunfire, it's erratic, it's a little bit scary, and you never get used to.
The gunfire she's talking about is here at the Founders Ranch, where members practice skeet and shotgun shooting and more.
We have several $1 million invested in this property. We have the permit to do what we're doing.
They have no plans to change that, no plans to compromise. Now, these residents are so fed up with the noise that they filed a restraining order against the Founders Ranch and SAS. A temporary restraining order that was signed, sealed, delivered, but it only lasted a week. Now the residents have a lawyer. They're taking SAS to court, hoping to stop the gunfire for good. Now, APD has had several recent new policy changes, but none of them involving dress code. This morning, we're learning that officers are now going to have to cover up more than ever before.
People tattoo, that's their own freedom of expression.
The Police Officers Association says a new rule within the Albuquerque Police Department is lowering police officer morale yet again.
It wasn't an issue when we were hired. Why is it an issue now?
Action 7 News obtained this new policy effective in June. It's now being heavily enforced. It states that all personnel, uniformed or not, are prohibited from displaying any tattoos, piercings, or brandings while on the clock, no matter how symbolic or how small it may be.
Other agencies aren't required to do that.
It means dozens of officers having to wear long sleeves, full-length pants, dress shirts, or neoprene sleeves matching their skin color at all times, even in the sweltering summer months. The APOA says this is going to become a safety issue.
It just makes it difficult for them to be themselves and effectively do their job.
Now, Tanya, some officers also tell Action 7 News that this new policy adds an unexpected financial burden because they're going to have to go out and buy new uniforms. APD wouldn't comment on the policy change, saying it should speak for itself. No word really on what exactly caused this dress code crackdown.